Hello, welcome to Basic Outdoor Skills Channel. My name's Walt. How are you doing today? So in episode 2 of the podcast, we were talking about making fire. Specifically about what you need to get a good fire going, right? So you can almost guarantee, or at least give yourself the best chance of starting a fire. Obviously, the first thing you're going to want is a way to actually make the fire. So what are we talking about? Well, matches. Okay, matches work great. You can also use a lighter. So you can use a butane lighter, or a liquid fuel lighter, or a sealed, I don't know if you can see that, just a peanut lighter. It's got a gasket in there. It's a sealed liquid fuel lighter. And I mean, that just helps. It's called Surefire, and that way you're guaranteed, whether it's matches or a lighter, to get a flame. Now, for whatever reason, if you were to lose your ignition source, what else could you use? Well, that's simple. There's any number of ferrocerriun rods you could use. This is a just cheap, no name, but it works just fine. Slightly larger. This is the Light My Fire ferro rod. Or you can use a ferro rod. There's the ferro rod with magnesium. This works simple. You just scrape off magnesium, and you want it about the size of a dime. Okay, you want a pile about the size of a dime. Scrape that on, hit your ferro rod, and the magnesium will burn. And you can get them. Here's the old standby. This is the Doan's. Actually, I believe this one's the Coghlan's. Yep, the Coghlan's. This is a big chunk of magnesium, so you can scrape off as much as you want. Ferro rod, strike it, magnesium burns. The nice thing about magnesium is it's an oxidizer. So even if it's wet, in fact, the wetter it gets, the hotter it burns. And what an oxidizer is as water hits it, it literally, the flame sucks the oxygen out of the water and makes it burn brighter. Now, if you live where I live, Pacific Northwest, it's wet a lot. It rains a lot. So magnesium works awesome. Now, I finally broke down, and I bought the Zippo fire starter. And as you can see, I just bought it. I haven't even used any of the tinder yet. Brand new. I haven't used it yet, but I'm going to practice with it and see how that works. And if it works well, I'll start carrying that with me when I go out. So that's what we're talking about for ignition sources. Ferro rods, magnesium, fire starters, liquid fuel, butane, matches. And matches, obviously, these are the storm type matches. I do prefer these over regular stick matches, though I do carry regular stick matches too. And that's what we're talking about for ignition sources. Trying to guarantee as much as you can that you're going to get fire. Now, the next thing you're going to need is some way to ensure. Now, what I like to use is fire starters. And you can either buy fire starters like this. This is the Coghlan's fuel tabs. And I think we've all seen these. They're just little tablets. You light them. They're designed to be used in the emergency cook kits, but I use them for fire starters. Just because, well, oh look, now I can't get it back together. Just because, I mean, these are easy. These will burn about 10, 12, 15 minutes. Plenty of time to get a fire going. If you don't want to buy, now, as far as fire starters, there's Coghlan's, there's Wet Fire. Really inexpensive way to go is the Weber Fire Cubes. I don't have any. But Weber Fire Cubes, you can get them in, especially in the spring and summer, you can find them in your, barbecue section. You know, if money's an issue for you, though, you might not want or have the money to buy fire starters. So, what else can you use? Well, cotton balls and petroleum jelly. Just soak them in petroleum jelly. And if you only want to carry a little, carry a little. If you want to carry a lot, well, hey, carry a lot. Carry as much as you want. Easy to do, easy to make. Your only cost is a jar of petroleum jelly, which you can pick up at just about any dollar store, and a bag of cotton balls. And yes, they make cotton balls that are not made out of cotton, but made out of, well, acrylic. So you want the cotton balls, a jar of petroleum jelly, and you've got hundreds of fire starters. What else could you use? Now, the Vaseline and cotton balls, they'll burn, I don't know, 5 to 7 minutes. It really depends on the size of the cotton ball and the quality of the petroleum jelly, but they do burn. And these you can light with a ferro rod. They light real well. And what can you use other if you don't have that? Well, while you're at the dollar store getting your cotton balls, let's see if I can get this out. You can see I carry mine in a candy tube. This held candy at one time. It's cotton balls and wax. Okay, cotton balls and wax. So while you're at the dollar store picking out your cotton balls and your petroleum jelly, pick up one of those great big candles. You know, the great big tall candles that they sell. They usually have religious pictures on them. They're $1, and man, that's just a lot of wax. Well, now if money's a real issue for you, as in you just don't have money to spend, here's another thing I do. As I'm walking around out in the woods, I pick up pine pitch. I'll see a tree that's been damaged, you know, and all that pitch runs out and dries. That's what this is, dried pine pitch. That works fantastic for starting fires. And best of all, it's free. Now, you can also get things like, you know, trioxane tabs. Coghlan's makes a fire paste. It comes like in a toothpaste tube. You just squeeze it out, light it, you're on fire. They also make fire sticks, which are usually either you can get fatwood sticks, or they do make, you know, it's just wood that's been soaked in something flammable. Kindling and tinder. Now you're going to need that to get your fire going. That's one of those things you are absolutely going to need. Now you can go out and just find dry kindling, right? Dry tinder. You can do it. Where I live, there are years where even the end of June, the first part of July, everything is just so saturated. Yeah, good luck. So again, what do you use? Well, if it's wet enough, I'll start with this, and I actually carry my own tinder. Yep, I do. And these fit great in these big tins, and they're just matchsticks. Now these matchsticks I have soaked in wax, just so they'll burn a little longer, and it does help, you know, keep the moisture out of them so that they burn. It's not a lot of weight, you know, and if you're one of those ultralight guys, you're probably not going to want to carry this, but hey, it's an option. And, you know, it's just a quick way, you know, to ensure. So you take your Vaseline soaked cotton ball, you light it on fire, and then you just take some of your tinder, put it on top, and then you can start adding and adding and adding and building your fire, and pretty soon you got a fire going. Pretty slick. Now you can also use other things. I mean, you can use popsicle sticks. Cotton swabs work great. They work great as a fire starter, right? As tinder, and you know, it's just great. They're mostly paper. Don't use the ones with the plastic stick in them, because that's just stinky. You can also use dryer lint. I mean, you can use anything around the house that'll burn. Just set it aside and go that way with it. So now suppose you have all of this and you're still having a hard time getting your fire going. I mean, it's just that wet, there's that much humidity, it's just miserable cold, you're just not having a good day. Let's talk about accelerants. The first thing I'm going to say about accelerants is do not ever, 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 ever use gasoline as an accelerant for a fire. You will get hurt, you will get burned, it will flame up, okay? So what can you use instead? Well, lighter fluid. That works great. Alcohol, denatured alcohol works great. Heat works great as an accelerant. All this, these things can be used to get your fire going. Now, one other thing I do, and I do this when my matches are no longer viable. I will put the match sticks in a tin and use them for tinder. But here's the thing. If I can get this open, there we go. Here's the match heads. I saved the match heads. Now, if you'll see, a lot of these are the Strike Anywhere match heads. These are not the match heads I take with me. Alright? The Strike Anywhere match heads, even if they won't strike on the box, okay, you have to test every single Strike Anywhere match to make sure you don't have a viable match head in there. Use the Clinton matches, right? Remember when Clinton was president and Americans were too dumb to have Strike Anywhere matches? So use the Clinton matches, the strike on the box matches, and those you can take with you anywhere. If you take the Strike Anywhere match heads with you as an accelerant, they're going to be in your pocket, they're going to be in your pack, you're going to bounce them, shake them. I can almost guarantee you're going to have a good match head in here, and it's going to light, and you're going to have a fire on your back or in your pocket, and that's just going to be ouch. That's just going to suck. Okay, now speaking of matches, while we're on the subject, we all recognize this. This is a match case. Now, for the Clinton matches, there's your striker inside. So what happens is people put matches in here with the head up. The head is where the striker goes. Now, after I bought this online, and about 3 weeks later I got an email saying that this match case has been recalled because they catch on fire in your pocket. And what happens is people put the matches in, head up, okay? You're walking along and the head of that match rubs along the striker, catches on fire. So what do? Match head down. Put the match heads at the bottom. If you're worried about the match heads breaking in here, take a cotton ball, stuff the cotton ball down into the bottom, put the match heads down. Yeah, you're going to get about 3 or 4 matches less in, but you're not going to have a fire in your pocket either. So this is just an aside, just so you don't catch yourself on fire. And that about covers what you need to make a fire. I hope it helps. I hope I gave you some good ideas. If you'd like to hear, if you like the video and you'd like to hear the whole conversation, check out the podcast. Head over to iTunes, type in Basic Outdoor Skills, all one word, will pop up. If you don't want to go to iTunes, go to the website, basicoutdoorskills.com, and you can listen to the podcast there. Just click on the podcast tab. And that's all I have for now. Guys, thanks for watching. I really do appreciate it. And until next time, I hope to see you on the trail. Bye now.